G'day everyone, welcome back. Round 9 for the AusCycling Esports series. We're back together. Kate, how are you today?
I'm good. It's great to have you back. Anna and I, we had a bit of fun last week, but it wasn't quite the same without you, Jet. So it's great to have you back. And week 9 can be a tough one. Actually, you missed a lot of action last week because, of course, the week before that, which I'd say, let's call it our after semester break, because there was a bit of
Mm,
a gap in between. And that first one, explosive sprinting and such a fast race. Last week, they got out onto the KOMs a little bit more. But actually, it was kind of surprising who was there at the end. In many ways, it was still the sprinters that we thought might get jettisoned on the climbs. This week, though, Jet, it's a pretty tough course around London Classique, and I think there'll be a lot of opportunities for people to go in breakaways and for people to do a lot of damage with some attacks.
yeah, agree. This one's a really tricky course. Obviously, the London Classic course, it's 11-kilometre circuit or 5-kilometre laps once we get past the lead in. But the sprint is really tricky because you kind of go around a bit of a U-turn, and then the sprint starts about 100 metres after that. So it's kind of a story of two sprint to the line, really. It's really, really cool. So it's going to be tricky. And yeah, hopefully we do get a couple of breakaways for today's race because the points are good every sprint, of which there's 4. But yeah, we want to see a bit of action throughout the race.
Yeah, so 11 kilometers, then 16.3, 21.5, and then at the finish at 27.3 is where we will have
Mm,
those sprints. The first time they go through, though, in the lead in, they won't get any points, and it is fastest through segment. So that's also a really interesting dynamic. Talk about that a lot more when they're out on
yeah,
course. Before we get there, let's take a look at the club standings. Uh, it's been pretty tight competition actually. Jet Randwick Cycling
yeah.
Club are in third, Bathurst Cycling Club in second, Waratah Masters Cycling Club leading the way. Gotta say, they're all New South Wales clubs. I kind of expected some Tasmanians or some Victorians, maybe people from Adelaide, getting into it given the weather conditions at this time of year down there. But alas, it is the New South Wales crew who are indoors on
That's
their trainers.
Yeah, certainly. They just getting ready for Wollongong, perhaps. The Waratah Masters. They're cleaning up and they want that jersey. I'm pretty sure that's what the victories, the top club win. They get their jersey in the game, and that's a pretty cool accolade.
It is very cool. Yes, we'll jump down to the racing. I got my Chicks Who Ride Bikes jersey in game. Jet, that was like one of the biggest
Oh,
achievements post athletic career to date, I would say. I was so excited. And it's got llamas on it, no less. And every time I jump into game, I have a little giggle at the fact that I've got a llama jersey. I understand a lot of these clubs will be very, very pumped to be able to get one of their club jerseys in there. So something to race
yeah,
for. Now, they're only 2K in. We're looking at the fellas here. Uh,
yeah,
as you said, Jet, it's a really long lead in compared to normal, about
yeah,
11K. Uh, this is actually a reasonably big group here, and I'm seeing some big
mm,
names. Sam Hill looks to be out there,
it's good to have him
unless
back.
there's another S Hill, but I don't think so. And the only person possibly more dangerous than Sam Hill in a race would be Mark O'Brien. Now, I haven't seen him yet, but if Sam Hill is motivated tonight, well, I reckon he'll have a bit of a target on his back. Sorry, Sam.
He certainly always does. He'll be trying to get away for sure. He won't want to leave it up to a sprint. But remember, I guess there's points in all sprints, so we might see the dynamic of the race, I guess, going away of going for every sprint, some saving their beans for the final sprint. I mean, there's different motivations for different riders. I had Nick Squari or Envelo Kicks, as we usually see him off, messaged me after the first round that we had 2 weeks ago, and he said, he was going for every sprint, and he was cooked for the final sprint where the winner, I've actually forgotten who won, he actually didn't contest any of the sprints, and he just saved himself for the last one. So I wonder if we'll see that happen again tonight.
Well, it is interesting question because when we're talking about first across line versus fastest through segment, it is a very different way to approach it. And last week we were really noticing that it was almost a little bit of a mind game where the people that you saw going across the line first were most often not the fastest. And some interesting tactics were being played out where there are a couple
Mm,
of riders, especially in the women's field, who I think purposefully didn't go in breaks because it allowed them to be fresh in between having a real kick at those sprint points. Now, this course, it's deceptive. It's only 20 meters of climbing, so you could say it's dead
mm,
flat. It is. But the hairpins on the
yeah.
Mall, I was about to call it the Boulevard. I think I'd be kicked out of London if I called it the
The
Boulevard.
Mal.
I know, the Mall. That is actually pretty taxing and pretty tricky, but it looks to me like the men are not just sitting around and waiting for those sprints to come. They're only on the lead in and they're already getting stuck into it.
Yeah, we've got is this C Ball? Christo Ball's up there with Brock Pearson. What a name, Brock Pearson. But yeah, Christo Ball here from the Randwick Cycling Club. He's just chip around. He's actually gone. He bridged across to Brock Pearson and then just went straight to him and he well put the tools in the bucket. And yeah, he's just sort of hanging out there a little bit. I wonder if someone tries to bridge. Samson behind as well as there. So there's a few dangerous competitors, but we're going to get a look here. This is not the first sprint, although they are going through it. This kind of gives you an idea of how difficult it is to get this right because they go around this little U-turn. And it's just it's a weird one because you're used to going around this U-turn and then kicking out for the final sprint, but it's actually too early if you launch straight out of the hairpin as they go around here. So it's a it's a tricky one to get right.
It is. So we'll come up to the 1K to go banner up here, the big red banner across the road. Christo Ball. Last week we were calling him Crystal Ball, Jet, because it's like he knew what was coming every time. He was sensational.
Oh,
We actually, let's
the
remember
Oracle.
early, we've got a couple of awards that we're keeping our eye out for. One, of course, is the Golden Bilby, and the other is the Honey
Yep.
Badger. And uh, the democracy of NRS Zwift racing last week had Anna and I both voting and having a mild debate about it too, because there was so much action, which was pretty exciting. Over on the women's side,
Yeah.
I reckon we're going to have a bit of a broken up field again today, Jet, because every week that we've seen them, nobody's been content to sit around and wait for the finish.
Mm, yeah, that's a nice bunch, isn't it, on the women's side? That's probably one of the biggest little pillows I've seen. Really like this. It's gonna, yeah, definitely favour some good racing. I'm really keen to watch the Colombian Valen Panagua, if I'm saying that name right. I'll have to double check. She's super strong. So looking forward to see what she can do today as well. And she's been racing. Well, she's been
Well,
racing a lot. You can see the men there, Katie, just sprinting for nothing. I'm not sure if they read the race brief, but looking at Valen
oh.
Panagua, she's actually been racing a lot. She's done about 12 races in the last 12 days. So she's certainly an avid and active Zwifter.
Well, she was the rider last week who I think quite purposefully didn't go with the breakaway and was just sitting back and
Oh.
lighting up the sprint and getting the fastest free segment each time. She was unbelievable. And Anna and I were like, this really opens the door. And I think you
Mm,
would have seen that there's been an announcement this week regarding the World Championships on Zwift and the different
yes.
format that they're doing. And
Mm,
just how it mixes it up. So I think that some of our riders with a great deal of experience IRL on the road are actually going to have to rethink the strategies a little bit. And for any traditionalists out there who may have bridged the gap to come into the Zwift world, but maybe hanging on to a bit of the traditional mindset, they might be difficult. Now, what's going on here? Another
I
sprint
knew
for
this was going to
nothing.
happen.
Oh,
It's just
spicy
a
spice.
throwdown.
It is, but
It
they're all
is a
doing
throwdown.
this. And the problem is somebody sprints and then everybody goes, "Oh, I thought
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't.
that's
Oh,
what
maybe I
happened.
got it wrong." And all of a sudden, it's on.
Yeah, it just takes someone to, yeah, you even if you're 100% sure, you'd probably still sprint just in case.
I'll
Uh,
tell you what you do if you were
but
smart, and this is not what I would do, like, from an old school kind of integrity in racing, but I think times have
mm,
changed and esports is different and it's a lot sassier. Let's use that word. What you would do is you would send one or two of your teammates to sprint and kind of,
ah,
balk the others and see if you can entice
ah,
them into sprinting and wasting energy for nothing.
that's a very good tactic. That's a
Mm.
good
So,
tactic.
well, it's seen
I think
McGarry dropped. So what's going
oh,
on
yeah.
there? I feel like maybe we've had a power drop or something. Uh,
Yeah, it's
Look, and
unusual.
the power drop may come from her. I may add. I mean, she may just not be having the best day. She may not have warmed up.
She's back
Welcome
on
back
now.
to the bunch, McGarry.
Yeah, she
Scoots
used
your
the
way up
aero
to the
power there.
front.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
straight to the front. How about that?
look at that. Yeah, it's
Wow.
unusual, I think, to see her dropping at the back, but we have to consider in this kind of race, there will be some people who are on the line, warmed up, and absolutely ready to go. And then there'll be others who have a little bit of a spin and figure they'll warm into it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really warms up properly on Zwift. I mean, we all sit there at home, you kind of spin around on the trainer while you're in the waiting pen, but you never really perform a proper warm up protocol. Not like,
But
we've
that's
seen Team
insane.
Sky have
Isn't
like
it
a
insane?
yeah, I know. But I guess that warm up sprint in the lead out, that kind of that would shake the legs up for sure. The men wouldn't be
Yes,
far
a
away
heart
from their
starter.
first win. Yeah, I'm starting,
Well, they
absolutely.
used to at all the
Um,
at the track carnivals, Jet. They used to have a race at the beginning of the night called a heart starter, and I'm pretty sure
oh
that
yeah.
was because that kind of saved everybody from having to warm up too much. They just threw the heart starter on, everybody got out there, and sure enough, your heart rate would go through the roof, and, Bob's
Mm.
your uncle, you're ready to go. So maybe that, dummy first sprint was a heart starter indeed. And to your point, I think you're right, but that's insane because if people do warm up, especially on a shorter race, I think it provides an opportunity for a real advantage.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Someone's having a little bit of a chip off the front here. Looks like Will Hodges there. He's going off the front now, and he's had enough of sitting in the bunch. I think it's been quite leisurely in the bunch, Katie, and Will's had enough. He's not one that's got a super sprint. But who is behind him? The Oracle, and this is a perfect little launch pad to get across to someone on this 4% gradient, and he is going to come straight past Will Hodges, Mr. Christo Ball, and he's going to put the burners on because he's still operating in that sort of 8 watts per kilo mark. So we've got two out front, Katie, and there's about 2Ks or
Mm.
just under 2Ks until the first sprint.
Well, the Oracle himself, I like that. I'm going to adopt that. He's
Mm,
flown past Will
yeah,
Hodges, but if these pair can get together, I don't think that Christo Ball will be too concerned about being able to outpower Hodges in the sprint. But fastest through segment jet, it's very, very different to
true.
first across the line. And
Mm.
why would you, like, quite seriously, why would you strategically go off the front at all in this kind of race?
Well, I guess there's always just getting your name out there. It always looks really good, your name at the front.
Early break, you reckon? Do you think they're going for
Yeah,
contracts maybe? Are we contract hunting?
hey, seriously, it could be. People are out there looking after Jay Vine's exploits and of course Neat Bradbury and the like. I think Zwift is certainly becoming more of a focus for teams out there. And why not? If you got the power and sprinting's not your game, and we're on a sprinter's course, why wouldn't you show off and put the burners on?
Oh, absolutely. Have a little bit of fun with it. I mean,
Mm,
I support it. I think
mm,
if they're purely just going for points, then you can probably afford to sit back and just use people's drafted wheel and use some of your power ups to get that first fastest through segment. But if you're wanting to have
mm.
a dig, have a race, have a little bit of fun, then I think it's a different. thing altogether. And there will be people out there who just trying to have a little bit of fun. And sometimes, and I
Yeah,
think this raises
absolutely.
the issue. Oh, hold on. Here's a bit of a
Oh,
jump
big Sam Hill's
across.
made a
Sam
bridge.
Hill. Oh, hello, Sam Hill on
He wants
his
the
shiny
overall.
Tron. Look at him. He's like
Look at him go.
the cool kid who's rocked up to the playground, and the smaller kids are like, oh.
He's got those Victoria tan balls on, the glowing, and we're having a
Yeah.
little bit of a sprint too. Christo Ball's just giving a clean pair of heels to Sam Hill, who's probably just trying to suck in a bit of air after that bridge attempt. But if they can stick together, they have 14 seconds, Kate, to the chasing bunch. And look at this, they're really lighting up. Obviously, everyone's trying to have a crack at the fastest through segment. You're seeing orange everywhere, like a Zwift advert, as all the riders are trying to get the fast. Fowler there, he's super quick. We saw him last week into the first round as well. But Adam Benrow, fastest through the segment on the left, as you can see. Fowler's super quick. But Katie, they've got to make up a lot of that front three.
Well, you know who I don't think opened it up fully was Kyle Marwood. He was in the top 10 in the fastest through, but not higher. Let's have a quick look at the replay, because James Sampson absolutely flew out of the pack. But if you turn your eyes to the left, not the fastest time. So curious one here, but let's see what happens when he crosses the line. But Fowler flying past. It's like as soon as you get excited about one rider, here comes another. So much orange going on. And let's go over to the women and see if we're going to see some similar action in the sprint. They will actually be sprinting this time around, so no dummy sprints for the ladies.
No dummy sprints indeed. I think we're going to see a bit of a battle with McGarry, Panagua, and of course, Kate Spicy. Love it. So we'll see. A little surprise as well. But the fastest through segment, Katie, it's also like it's a bit of there's a bit of technique and time your sprint. You know, you kind of think of it as you want to get a lead out into the segment. So if you're starting the sprint first and entering the first, well, you're not going to get the best lead out. And look at this. Panagua is just lighting it up from the front. McGarry is just in the wheel about, 4 or 5 bike lengths off. But Panagua's got huge power. And we're going to see her go across the line very shortly. And will she record the fastest times? It's her and McGarry going what for what. And Panagua is a beast. Wow, that's
impressive.
Lorena Weber style.
Impressive. Yeah, it was kind of Weber's style, wasn't it? She is the fastest, which makes it even more impressive, given that very easily, in my estimation, if I may be so bold to say, she could have gone a lot quicker if she started that sprint at the back of the pack. She might not have been out the front as much, but she would have gotten the draft and the acceleration and a little bit of a slingshot around that. So if she's just looking at going as quick as she can, then I would like to see her start. Now, see, she'll probably argue she started her sprint at the back, but so quickly came to the front. If she laid 30 meters off the back, that's what I want to see. I want to see her 30 meters off the back and running at them and then using that to slingshot past, because when you're 5 seconds in, that's when it really starts to bite. So if you can start, giving them a little bit of distance, when it starts to bite, that's when you'll get a little bit of reprieve. But she just has clean air around her. Such an impressive sprint. Clearly the fastest there. And that's with a lot of orange following her too.
Absolutely. And what you were saying there, Katie, you're absolutely right. She got everything right. I think her positioning when she started the sprint, but it was the timing. She needed the bunch to be going at a high speed. So she needed some of that. She needed the bunch to sort of begin their sprint already. And then she was accelerating a faster moving peloton, and she'd get a larger acceleration. So we'll see. She's got 3 more sprints, and she's done the first one pretty easy. But we're going to check in with the men and see where they're at. They can't be far away from the first sprint, and we've still got the 3 off the front. So let's just have a look. Or have we got 4? who we've got? We've got Connor Reardon. We've got Crystal Ball. So Reardon's bridged across. And the crystal ball, the oracle, Adam Benrose is there. We know he's super strong. And wow, this is super strong. And they've got 20 seconds. Good Lord. Wow.
Good Lord, indeed. Heaven
Yeah.
above. You sound like Dolly Parton there, Jet, who I'm a big fan of, by the way. Now, I've just noticed GCCC behind Adam Benrose and Connor Reardon. Is that Gold Coast Cycling Club? Am I correct
I
on that
believe
one?
so.
Or
Yeah.
Geelong City Cycle? This could be like quite a fun bingo round. All right, so Gold Coast. See, they're proving me wrong. I would have thought the Gold Coast, the weather's pretty good. Like, I wouldn't have thought
Yeah.
that all of the people would be on Zwift, but there you go.
Well, they're sitting
They've
fifth.
got two of them sitting there.
Wow.
Sam Hill, Tamworth. I did not know Sam Hill was from Tamworth. Did you know the Hill boys were
Wow.
from Tamworth? Is that their home club?
I
Do
have
I need
no
to do
idea.
some
I guess
Googling on the
we
go?
may have to dig in and see where they're at, but not far away from the 500-meter mark to go into the Classique sprint as well. And I wonder who's going to take this home. Adam Benrose is pretty quick, Katie. I'd be backing him from this group, and I wonder in sprint they're 32 seconds. Group, like you said, they're probably not going to get through segment. Based on the others using the group, having a bigger draft, etc. So I wonder, will they just continue to work together and keep the pace steady rather than sprint?
So good. It's a yeah. I mean, I think that they're just racing for the sake of racing, and regardless of how it actually looks on paper, there's certainly kudos for crossing the line first, and not only at the intermediate sprints, but of course at the finale, and ripping off as many legs as you can along the way. I think that's Sam Hill's motto, actually, when he
Yeah.
races. How many legs can I rip off today? I think that's what he says to his darling wife before he jumps on the trainer. And she's probably there button pushing. Actually, no, she's probably not. She's probably watching the project or something like that. It's about that time here on the East Coast. I know it's a slightly different time in Perth there, Jet. Certainly racing as though they were in a crit, aren't they? They're not taking
Look at
any
this.
prisoners.
Wow.
Flying up. Hello, Crystal Ball.
Chris,
That was
with
beautifully
the power
timed.
up.
That will be a quick one, even though he definitely wasn't in as much orange as some of the others. But
He
you
started
need
it
to
too
remember when
late.
we're looking at when we're looking at these sprint times, it is not updated for each sprint. So that's just overall. So we can't be sure whether they've actually gone faster through the intermediates maybe than the other, because they're still looking at that overall.
Oh, we've got the sprint for the women here as well. If we're just looking, this is still on this race. And look how fast they're going here. Wow. That was Kay
Now,
Bratz. We've
Sam
we've got a
Hill
replay.
has just made a point, and he says all the fastest times are gone already. He's right. So for those lap ones where they go every lap, they
Good
will
point.
probably get those fastest ones on the first or second lap. And then after that, it's, even though it is each lap in terms of the absolute fastest, I'm going to put it out there that there may be a little bit of confusion about how these points are all being collected, given that both of the bunches sprint one that wasn't included. Because it's a different format, and I love that. I think that that's good. But let's take a look at Christo Ball. Talk us through this, Jet, because he was absolutely flying.
Yeah, he really did light it up. I'm just trying to look for the actual sprint segment marker there. You can usually see on the left-hand side, because I think they actually started their sprint well after the segment. But yeah, Connor Reardon kind of started his sprint first, and he just provided like a really good springboard. You can see now that Hill, they hadn't actually limited their sprints just now. Sam Hill's there in the yellow tan walls, and this is super long replay, but it gives us an idea of here comes Crystal Ball. Look at this 12 plus watts per kilo, and then times the aero power up. So using the aerodynamics at its maximum speed, of which the faster you're going, the more aerodynamics play a part. And geez, did he gap them like they were standing still? Absolutely awesome. And Sam Hill, I mean, he's as well, but yeah, Crystal Oracle, super fast. But yeah, like you said, Katie, they just keep on riding now that they're out front, and the fast time usually does go on that because that's when the bunch is at the biggest and at their freshest as well. Because think about when you're training your sprints outside in real life, it's usually your first sprint which is your best, which is when when you're when you're as fresh as possible.
Freshest. Yeah. Well, we're watching now Audrey Braun, and she rides for Randwick. We know that Randwick are doing very well in the overall state here, so she's earned a few kudos already. Now, the predominance of our women out there are actually Bs, because Migari and Panagawa are the only two As that are in there. So that is good to remember that they are racing in two slightly different categories there, and that's reflected on the left where we're watching. Where we can see the results. If you're wondering why only two are showing up, it's because they are the A's and the majority of these are the B's. Kate Spicy from Dub Vegas, which we assume is Dubbo. She's been riding great. McGarry is on a burner. She's going to get... Oh, she didn't. She nearly got past Panagawa, but she got the fastest time on that one. 11.56 to 11.64. Unless my eyes fail me, I'm going to ask the producer for help here, Anna. Please tell me in my ears if it's 11.56 or 11.58. 5.8. I probably should have put my glasses on, Jet. But that is, wow. She has warmed up. And remember, she got a little bit dropped off the back at the beginning.
She did.
I reckon she didn't have much of a warm up. Perhaps she turned up just a little bit late for the race. Got on the bike in time, not warmed up. Here we go. Of course, I'm only guessing. I mean, she's probably on a bike.
Maybe.
What is she talking about? But impressive. That's where the line was, just back there. It's only 200 meters, but this is where, look at these watts. This is incredible from McGarry. Pushing towards 14 watts per kg. Wowee.
Impressive. And taking the fastest time. Only just, look how close it is, 0.008 seconds. That's that is, there's not a lot in it, and we've still got a couple of sprints left.
No. And interestingly, McGarry and Panagawa are both equal on 12.8 watts per kg for their 15-second PB. We'll revisit that. But right now, we've got Sam Hill having a little bit of fun, attacking the attack. It's 27.3 kilometers total. They've gone 20.9 kilometers, so they don't have too far to go. This is going to be over very quickly. There's going to be a lot of burning lungs and burning legs. I feel like we haven't even warmed up yet. What's going on? 1 kilometer to go until the sprint. They'll get the bell, the virtual bell. I think there's something for the game designers, Jet. I want a virtual bell.
Yeah.
When they go through with a lap to go, I want to hear that ding, ding, ding. I feel like it's like a Pavlovian reaction. You know, you hear that and it's like the animal comes out. No bell. Ugh. Just doesn't work. That's the tracky in me, right? Anywho.
I like it. I think that's a great idea on the old Dolphin Parade course. Absolutely. I mean, I only heard Pavlova in that once, but I really do think the bell should great feature. I'm definitely we're going to put that to the crew on social media. Get the bell out, put it in the comments, put it in the next update. But Sam Hill, at the moment, he should be called Sam Kill because he is on a mission. He wants to win solo. And I think, Katie, we've actually witnessed the form of Sam Hill rise and rise and rise from the original Club Series at the start of the year through to the NRS and now to to this moment just now, we've seen him really sort of rise up and start to, show his true legs.
It's like we're watching a mountain grow out of a Sam Hill. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And
I
like this,
apologize. I couldn't help
we could,
myself. Oh, dearie me. Now, let's take a look back here. We've got a golden bilby to pick. So we're looking at the chase group here now. But I'm going to throw this to you because I feel like I always have very strong opinions on my honey badger and golden bilbies. But where do you think we're standing with that right now from what you've seen?
Well, the golden bilby, it's very hard to look past Sam Hill. Crystal Ball's been super, super active as well, but I think what leans me towards Sam Hill for the golden bilby is the fact that he attacked the break. I love that. He said, forget about the sprints, let's go. And then it didn't look like they want to ride, so he says, you know what, I'll go on my own. And I love that. That is the bilby. That's the inner bilby that's being challenged by Sam Hill.
Inner bilby. Indeed, and it's good to see Trent Stevenson unleashing a little bit here as well.
Yes.
But Bratz this week has stepped up. With the first couple of weeks, we were getting used to kind of the most explosive in the sprints, but we've had a few more contenders.
Yeah.
And that's one of our riders from Singapore.
Is it Singapore? Or it might be, is it Isle of Man? Well, Hong Kong. It's Hong Kong.
Hold on. Now, I have to clarify for the people at home who are thinking, are they really so bad with flags? Anna and I have been through the ringer on. The flags are so tiny that you're guessing
it's like
a
one
little
pixel.
bit. But
yeah, I think it's Hong Kong.
We'll see. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Either way, thank you. We love it. It's not Poland. I can probably say that, even though the colours are the same, or Denmark. But he is from nowhere really accelerating out the front of the pack. And he's using power-ups really well, is what I'm noticing. So I reckon I'm with you. Sam Hill. He's got to get our golden bilby this week. Hill the killer.
Yep.
I'll keep
Hill the
working on
killer.
that.
I agree. There he is. The golden bilby. The golden bilby tires. Look at him. The golden beard.
Look at him.
Have a look at him. I don't like the hair on that. Not a fan.
These are the nights where it's probably good that Anna Russell is behind the scenes, because her fashion sense, this would offend her fashion sense. I'm busy. And short socks. What is that about? Sorry, Sam. You know I'm a big fan, but Anna, let me tell you, in our ears is kind of slamming your fashion. But you can take that up with her on social media, Sam, because you've been riding beautifully this evening. And I'm also, Jet, I'm Googling Sam Hill Cycling Tamworth, because I want to know if that's where they were born and bred. I might have to look it up. But yes,
We're about to go through the women
Strava
now.
tells me he is. Yes, apologies. I'm meant to be commentating about what's on the screen. That's like the golden rule, number one rule.
Well, we're doing the research here. Yeah.
We are. Now, Audrey Braun has been riding really well, really solidly, and she's another one. I love it when we're seeing them improve week on week. Like that really excites me about this kind of racing. And we still have 3 more to go, I might add. And I reckon while everybody's getting pretty wound up to get involved in Wollongong, because of course next week I think we might have a slightly different skew of riders, because the Masters National Championships are on, Jet, on the Wollongong course. They're testing it out for us. So
Is
we'll have
that
to
right?
see how that goes.
And the
I reckon we'll
juniors
get
too.
some of the riders and the juvies. Yes, they'll be out there as well. But yes, it is indeed wonderful to watch the riders ride into form on here.
It really is. It's cool. It's it just illustrates how good Zwift is for building fitness. And how about this flyer in the orange? Who is this? This McGarry hitting them from the back. He has come a long way from the back. And how about Panaguia? She is, I think she's just lurking in the background. Maybe she's sitting on because at the moment, no one's really lighting up their sprint. Perhaps they weren't happy with the approaching speed into this segment, but just waiting. There's a few aero power ups now. And now they've hit the segment. And have a look at McGarry.
Off.
Wow.
Look at her
700,
go.
800
Gee,
watts. Wow, super, super fast, and she's got that one easy. She's got a really
she's
sharp
got
kick off the line, doesn't she?
such good acceleration, and she's only a slight rider too. She's not one you would necessarily think is a sprinter. Now, what we're seeing here is for finish line points. Reardon from the Gold Coast, they've had a great ride
Wow.
tonight. Two of them being
Yeah.
super active, Connor Reardon and Adam
Well,
Benrose.
kind of started
Adam
it.
Benrose has been sensational the whole series, but Reardon has 4-second gap on Sam Hill. I reckon this is
Wow.
almost earning Reardon our honey badger, because if Sam Hill gets our Bilby, then what on earth does Reardon get? But yes, I think that we do need to reward the women as well. So
Yes.
McGarry and her incredible speed may indeed be our honey badgers. That's something else I'll Google. Are honey badgers quick? Because I'm not sure if
Yes.
they go together, but
Well, they've got
I'll learn
claws.
something later
All I know is
tonight.
that. So it
Now,
looks like Sam
Sam
Hill
Hill has
is
gone
yeah.
to 0. Is he having,
Has he
has he
melted?
blown a foo-foo valve? I don't know. Because he keeps coming back with a
Maybe shut
few
up.
watts, so he hasn't
Yeah. Oh,
disconnected. Oh,
no.
he's sprinting again now. Did he unclip?
He
Did he
might
drop
have.
his chain? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. But this is Connor Reardon,
Conspiracy
and
theories.
Connor, he started the breakaway, Mr. Connor, and he's a breakaway as well by taking the finishing points and winning round 9 of the AusCycling Club series. That is great ride. Adam Benrose sprinting for second. And you can see he's got the points jersey with the fastest through segment from the very first time, I believe, as well, that they ran through there. But something obviously happened with Sam Hill, his setup, but fortune favours the brave, and Connor Reardon attacked that group and was rewarded for a bit of heroics.
Yes, that was a very impressive ride. Who knows what happened with Sam Hill, but gee, he deserved his reward with the Bilby for his tenacious riding. And it's great to have riders of his caliber stepping back in, because I know a lot of these riders really appreciate both the respect to have those riders, pay this the respect to come and race to it, but also the kind of racing that it results in. So fantastic. Adam Benrose will go home, if nothing else, with bragging rights for the fastest time through segment for the entire day. Very rapid, very quick. Kyle Marwood, he's not quite as high up this week as he may have been a couple of weeks ago. We may be seeing his form go in the other direction. Trudy Stevenson, Trent Stevenson, pardon me. Trudy is over in the women's field. 2T
Wow.
Stevensons. Wouldn't that be fun if they were a married couple, Jet? Trent and Trudy Stevenson. That'd be quite cute. It'd be easy on their stationery, wouldn't
Well,
it?
that's Adam and Jessica Benrose. I mean, I was confusing them for brother and sister earlier in the NRS
That's
season,
awkward.
but they are husband and wife team. I'll never forget that, Jess and Adam. Wondering where Jess is tonight. Maybe she's watching. Yeah, this is a very coy sort of setup that we have in front of us right now, Katie, because everyone is together. Everyone's just trying to keep their cadence nice and fluffy. And look at the watts, 150 watts. They're all just sort of saying for the final hurrah. Now, Katie, will we see anyone who maybe has been keeping their powder dry overturn Lord in or Panaguia?
Well, look, I don't know, because I think McGarry, and again, let's just point out for a second, because this is important, that McGarry and Panaguia, they're A's, We've got a whole heap of
Yeah.
incredibly talented bees who are racing here as well. Now, Panagoya, she's pipe ski.
Oh,
She's gone. She's had a
wow.
great early sprint, but she's done. She's pulled the pin, double
Yeah.
clipped. Not quite. She's clipped back in. She's going to finish it off. But that leaves it up to McGarry. I think she'll be first in class, best dressed for this one. Kate
Yeah,
Spicy
well,
is the leading in the B in terms of what we have seen over the weeks, but they're getting their chat on. They're all a little bit
yep,
social. Now, over in the fellas, we saw a little bit of smack being thrown down. They were like psyching each other out on the chat. The women, I love it. They're so supportive, the women's side. It's fantastic. But I reckon Kate Spicy from Dub Vegas, that's Dubbo, right? It's got
yeah,
to be Dubbo
Dubbo.
Cycling Club.
Yeah.
She is like in disguise, like all friendly on the chit chat, and then she'll just hit him and make him suffer. So let's just see what happens
Well,
here. I reckon they're all cat
she
and
could
mousing a bit.
certainly, yeah, well, they are. She could certainly challenge McGarry. She's got the green jersey. She is the fastest on course. But this sprint is different to the sprints we've seen. This is everyone all in, a chance to take the win, and one of the rare occasions where most of the bunch is left as they approach the final sort of 300 meters. Or actually, they've got a little bit further to go, don't they? They've still got another
It's
2Ks to go.
And it's Audrey Braun and Kate Spicy on paper that are the ones that you would think would be in the position to take this out. Now, they go down to the end here. They do a U-turn, and I can definitely attest to the fact that U-turns are easier in Zwift than in real life. They're more safe for sure. If I had $1 for every time I decked it at the Bay Crits on one of the U-turns, I'd be not quite a millionaire, Jet, but probably drive a nice car.
There's always a
Now
bit
they
of
go
sand
down
on those
here.
corners.
Always. They do the U-turn. They go back under that 1 kilometer to go. Oh, look at that. Trent is her
There
hubby.
you go.
It's Trent and Trudy
Confirmed.
Stevenson. Oh my gosh. I just love it. So Honey Badger, we've got to pick this before. I was thinking McGarry. Jet, what do you think?
I really like Panagua's all or nothing approach. She went all in for the first 3 sprints, and then she cooked their bundle, and now she's melting out the back in London somewhere.
Just for the bundle and the melting out the back, you win. And as our esteemed host, Jet, you get the deciding vote. That's just how it works. So I think that Panagua gets the vote here. But Madam Spicy from Dub Vegas, she's gone early. Now, this is a gutsy move. Remembering that Audrey Braun is the only one on paper who can really match her. And she has managed on her Tron to scooch right up onto that wheel, and Spicy is still going for it. But Audrey Braun is in the best position she could possibly be. She can't leave it too late, but Spicy's running out of power already. Can Braun get out of the seat and accelerate away from her here?
I think McGarry's
Spicy's
coming.
gone again. McGarry's
coming.
I think
McGarry, she's coming.
Oh, here comes
Here
Braun.
she comes
McGarry
with the aero power up. This is going to be close.
Whoa,
look at her go.
Well, McGarry's going to take out the race and take out the A's. Howard is going to take out the B's. Spicy is going to I think Spicy just came past Audrey Braun, but I can't really entirely tell to be honest. But great to see a couple of the Trons up there. And really, Kate Spicy, you know, I don't know if she actually went across the line before Audrey Braun or after Audrey Braun, but the fact that it was that close with how early she went and how well positioned Audrey Braun was, that's impressive. Like, mental note, Kate Spicy can go long. That was a good one. A very good sprint.
Yeah, that was good. I think she certainly favours a bit more of an aerobic effort. Kate Spicy, a harder race, but it was good to see her back that up. And a few new names enter the fold as well. Kirsten Campbell, I think they're late. But how about McGarry? She was lightning.
She was lightning. And I think that McGarry each week is getting a little bit better. She's also, what's interesting is her and Panagua, they have been on a very similar pace with the sprints, but now that it's heating up a little bit, we're starting to see a really different outcome at the back end of the race. So the next couple of weeks, but again, we may see some of these riders absent next week as they go and race the national championships, but we hope that they come back. I've learnt a few things tonight, Jet. I got to say, number one is I've just had to Google how to get black pen out of pants out of jeans because I got a bit excited when the men were
Oh
sprinting and I now
no.
have a black pen mark on my jeans. But that's, I'll figure that out afterwards. I've also learnt that Sam Hill is indeed from Tamworth. So there you go. I thought it was just about country music. I think Keith Urban's from in or around. Oh, no, he's from
My
Culture.
favourite.
Either way, let's just say country music capital of Australia, Tamworth. So there you go. That's where the
Yeah.
Hill Brothers are from. And I've also just kind of figured out by way of comment that the Stevensons are in fact Trent and Trudy, married couple. T&T Stevenson. I
Have
don't know why I love that so much, but I do. That's fantastic. I won't forget
Well,
it.
we need to have a like a husband and wife off between the Ben Roses and the Stevensons. Maybe a battle
Yes.
royale.
We do. I
And
mean, some people are here to talk about what's and who does what in the racing. I'm just thrilled that we've got a T&T Stevenson. So, we're all here for different reasons, Jet. But I've so much enjoyed commentating with you again, and I'm glad you're back after last week. Will we be back next week? I'm hoping that we will
yes,
be. Where can we find our results?
well, we can find our results as always as Zwift Power. Really good to get stuck into that. You can see all the power, all the well, I'm going to go see what the max wattage was for McGarry and Panagua. I want to see some of that and just make myself feel really, really average about my own power. So yeah, we'll be back next week, Kate, and we look forward to having everyone back on for another round of the AusCycling Esports Club Series.
See you then.